Welcome back to Winterberg in Germany. The final slide of the weekend is the deciding race round of the women's skeleton. Race 3 of the BMW IBSF women's skeleton campaign. After 2 races in Lake Placid, we now hit the European Trail. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me still Florian Austin of the USA. Austin Florian, beg your pardon. And again, we've got another super tight battle on our hands for the medals.
Absolutely, yeah. We have Janine, Jacka, and Tina battling it out, and they've got about 1100s between them. Janine's about 1100s back behind Tina and 9 behind Jacka, and it should be really tight, especially with how well they all can drive this track. Don't expect huge starts from any of them. They were all about 400s apart, but Jacka threw down a monster run, had the best drive of the heat, I'd say, and anything can happen with how tight this race is. Jacka's, you can expect a good run at any time from her.
Winner last 2 years, Jacqueline Lurling, the local girl here, but she's not the leader, as you said, by 200s.
Tina Herman, yeah, she was 200s ahead of Jacka. A little faster start, so Jacka drove better than her. However, it's the only time that matters is the time when you cross that last split finish line. But hey, anything can happen. It's Winterberg.
Well, we saw Sunmin Young in the men's race, 1900s in front after the first heat, won by just 500ths of a second. But we had 2 Germans on the podium then. We could easily have 2 Germans on the podium here. The third of our German sliders, Sophia Griebel, is not going to bridge the gap from where she is down at the bottom of the top 10. But there's the leaderboard after the first of our 2 heats. Both runs count, so you've got to be as close to perfect as humanly possible. Tina Herman by a couple of hundreds from Jacqueline Lurling. Janine Flock, Mimi Reneva don't count her out of the medals either, and maybe even Marina Gilardoni in 5th. From there on down, everybody jockeying for position. You can see how close some of the gaps are. Wei Young Lin of China and Leslie Stratton of Sweden do not get to go in the second heat. It's only the fast 20 that go through. At least it's a little less brutal than the men's race, where we started with 30 first heat athletes and sent a third of them all home after run 1. Well, there's Janine checking the rockers, making sure that the rock on the runner, the sort of bow on the bottom like a rocking chair, is exactly where she wants it. You can adjust that to suit the conditions, can't you, based on run 1, but you can't change the runners.
It's the only thing you can do between runs on the fly at a race. It's the amount of bow in the runner. The more bow in the runner, the less grip, the more potential speed you can have.
But the bigger the potential skids. It's always a balance, isn't it? Speed versus control, because control means more friction means less speed.
Absolutely. And sometimes more control means more speed, so no one really knows.
As John Montgomery always said, try not to outthink the sled. So here's our start list there. We go 20 down to 1. We start with 2 Russians, Yulia Kanikina and Renato Kutsina, then Maddie Charney, Valentino Margalio, who was last of our starters and flew in with a great push, managed to keep that speed all the way down the track. Then into the top 10 with Sophia Griebel, and heading to our top 5, Gilardoni, Reneva, Flock, Lurling and Herman. Somewhere from there will come our medals. Second heat, race 4 of the BMW, race 3 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup, Winterberg in Germany. Martin Haven and Austin Florian watching the action. Yulia Kanikina gets us underway here with a 5:29 start.
A little bit slower than first run. You can expect that, though. It's been kind of Winterbergy, I guess, more foggy, and the groove could be filling in and with some fog and creating some frost, but we'll see what she can do. She's been coming on as a driver as the last couple of years, and put together a good run down this Winterberg track, see if she can move up.
Well, first heat, she started second quickest in the field, ended up only 20th, so it was not a problem at the start, it was a problem everywhere else. Normally here, the problems come when you lie down.
Yep, it's a track that sometimes you don't really understand why you went slow. However, that's kind of why certain people are fast. They have more runs, they have more experience. Yulia is an experienced slider, and she's just starting to come on, so expect things to move up in certain tracks in the future, but this is just not one of those days for her.
And again, you choose your runners in the morning based on what you think the track is going to do, what the weather is going to do, how that's going to affect the ice surface, what it's going to require in terms of runners and the setup and everything else. So that's always a guess.
Yep.
And then sometimes you're going to guess right on the money, sometimes you're going to guess completely in the wrong direction, and then you throw in all the vagaries of the drive as well.
Yeah, good push from her. She took it very deep, one of the deepest seen from the other sleds. But you can take a look at the runner tips right here. It's kind of fading away towards the middle of the curve and not exactly where you want to be.
We can see clearly leaving a little groove in the ice, and anytime you're cutting the ice, you're reducing your own speed, because that takes... She's high-fived somebody and walked off with their glove. There's the pleasures of Velcro for you. So Julia Kanakina is down. Next up is her teammate Renato Kutsina. And Kutsina, again, relatively inexperienced compared to a lot of the sliders. She has done 21 previous World Cup starts, but we've got girls in the field who are now into the 70s.
This is her first World Cup of the season, so we've got to battle back those nerves again and do what she can to go pretty fast. She's started third place, or third in the start order first run, excuse me, and second this run, so she's got some good ice both runs to deal with. We'll see what she can do with it.
Well, her start was only 15th fastest, so that's a handicap to begin with against our faster sliders.
Yeah, a little slower this start. You might see that from everybody based on the groove. It might be filled in or frosty or what have you. Just a little slower this run. Looks like Julia probably is going to take Renata though, but judging on how she had a slower push, you'll see her start to accelerate in the bottom of the track.
Yeah, they're only 400s apart. Renata with that 400ths of a second advantage, but she's nearly 4/10ths behind now, so she really needs to get this lower labyrinth completely right.
Doesn't look like she's going to rein in Julia. She's got a little bit higher speed, however, she's just a little bit too far back.
Yeah, 3400s back at line, 59.48, so 3800 slower than her teammate on this run alone. There's Kanakina, who will remain in the leader's box, at least for one more sled. Next sled in front wasn't too far. In fact, 2 or 3 sleds ahead of her, all definitely within striking distance, so she might move up a few more spots. Here's the Kreisel turn. Big first pressure, then she drops low in the middle of the corner. You'll see a lot of the faster girls just holding a constant line around her.
Yeah, it's hard because in reality, that all the way comes from 5, and if you don't nail 5 and you kind of are unsettled going into Kreisel, you're going to have those waves and you're going to have to work a lot, and you're going to slow down a lot in that corner.
Renata searching out a teammate to offer her congratulations as Maddie Charney gets stripped for action at the top of the track. And it's not a bitterly cold day, it's not -20 anything out, but still, you're only wearing your underwear basically. It's just a thin suit of lycra. It doesn't do much to keep the muscles warm. You spend a lot of time and energy, don't you, getting warmed up and ready to get on the block.
Absolutely, it's all about keeping warm and staying warm. Take those jacket off at the last possible second.
Yeah. Although nobody tends to strain their arms, it's always the leg muscles. I'm always surprised that you got a jacket on but not pants on. 5:55 is the start for Maddie Charney.
Handles corner 0 very well, keeping the sled going straight down the hill, which is very important, especially in this coming into this uphill corner 2.
6th World Cup of her career, first one ever outside of North America.
She came into the World Cup season last year in Calgary and Lake Placid and slid Worlds as well, and slid well, had a little bit of a disappointing. I don't think she was very happy with it, but I think she's moving on and proving very well.
Yeah, of her previous 5 races, 4 of them have been in Lake Placid, only 1 in Calgary, so she's got lots of experience of the North American tracks. Now she's in the green ahead of Julia Kanakina.
Building speed, pretty good. Down on speed to Julia though, but she has enough in the bank that she should be able to stay ahead.
And she builds her lead. 800s from the first heat, it's now 1300s, so that was a 500s quicker run in the second. So she'll be no worse than 18th place. Julia Kanakina leaves the leader's box, and Maddie Charney will move in. So I don't know if the dogs are watching back at home in Calgary.
Oh, they should be.
Yeah. Teammate Kevin Boyer helping with the sled. Good strong start, and again trying to get that swallow dive chest first onto the sled.
Yeah, you don't want to be putting too much force down. You want to be going down the start ramp and going with as much force forward as you can, because it's all about conservation of energy going down the track.
A lot of toe steering going on here.
Not quite sure of where she's going out of corner 9 and into 11, but letting it go down, and she's pretty happy about it.
Well, before they get to the World Cup, a lot of these athletes will learn some of these tracks either in the North America's Cup, European Cup, or the Intercontinental Cup, which is the step immediately below World Cup racing. Not everybody gets that opportunity, though. Quite often you get fast-tracked in. Now, Valentina Margalio from Italy. She was our last starter. This is only her 7th World Cup, and she has a quick getaway.
5:31. She'll be a little bit slower than first run, but that's a trend we've seen so far. Handles it pretty well, better than first run, her 0 to 2. We'll see if she can improve and maybe jump a couple spots this run, as long as she holds this together through this crucial flat part of this track and before the big acceleration point at corner 9.
All coaches secretly want you to bring them lots of really quick starters so they can then teach them how to drive, because that's easier than trying to teach a driver how to start.
Absolutely.
Valentina has that on her side. And once you've got that speed, it allows you to get away with a few little mistakes that otherwise would really punish you.
Right, which ideally you don't want to even make any of the mistakes. However, the start just gives you more of a potential to finish higher, and then you can learn how to drive on the way down. She's holding speed pretty well. You'll see probably a little bit time drop down here, but maybe not. Wow. Guess I don't know what I'm looking at.
58.64, it's always hard to tell. Yeah. Listen, when I was doing this on my own in the very early days, I used to watch the likes of Kristen Bromley and John Montgomery and everybody watching in the leaders box, and they'd be looking at the screen going, where did that come from? Yeah. And that just gave me a little bit, okay, so it's not just me that doesn't always see it. I think really the only person who knows where the speed comes from in any run or goes to is to slide themselves, because they make mistakes that even you're not seeing.
Yeah, something that she's got going very well for her is she's just letting the sled run. The fact that her legs are flapping around and just means she's relaxed and she's letting the sled do what it wants to do, and that's what will make you go fast. See, that's not the best line. However, she was flying and she had speed and she was building speed the entire way down the track.
Valentina Margalio is our leader with the first 4 sleds down as we get to our first US slider. This is Savannah Grable. 18th fastest start, drove herself into 16th place. And her advantage over the Italian from the first heat is a 1/10 of a second. Now where Valentina started 5:30, Savannah probably will give away 3/10 of a second in the start. 5:61.
Same push as she had first run.
Yep.
Her push has come along a bit this year, and her driving has always been good. She was the track record holder in Lake Placid for a while, so she knows how to drive a sled down a track, even from a start deficit. So expect a good drive, and she'll give Valentina a run for her money. You'll see the deficit start to come down after Kreisel.
You see still the bright shine on the track. The runner's hardly leaving any mark.
Yeah, the track crew doing a very good job maintaining the ice towards the people who won the first run.
Gap at 5100s. It's coming down a little as she gets out of corner 9. This is where Valentina was wild but fast.
She's got pretty good speed coming into this section. Coming down, she probably won't catch Valentina, but she'll be closer.
She's quicker than the Italian, but not quick enough. There's not enough track left. Brings it down to 3400s with a 59.08.
I think that just shows how much the freeness of Valentina in the bottom of the track was very helpful.
Yeah.
Even though it looked pretty wild and Savannah looked cleaner, Valentina was very free and let the sled run.
There's a less polite phrase for that, but that's the broadcastable way. Let it fly. John Montgomery always had the theory that if you put a sack of potatoes that weighed the same as him on a sled and pushed it off at the same speed, it would beat him down the track because it wasn't outthinking itself. A good-looking run from Savannah Grable. She's in 2nd place. Valentina Margalio remains in the lead.
Yeah, a little bit of height on the exit corner 11, but that does a good job of getting you through that bottom of the track, which can lose you a bit of time.
Savannah Grable in 2nd, Maddie Charney in 3rd, Valentina Margalio leads. 5 down in our 2nd heat of the women's skeleton. 15 to go in women's skeleton in Winterberg. Martin Haven and Austin Florian watching the action as Kendall Wessenberg from the USA is next up. 15th after the first heat.
Looked like that push got a little bit away from her, so hopefully she'll be able to rein that in and have a good corner 0. A little bit slower. She handles it well, though. A little better than first run, where she skid all the way to corner 1, but she's letting the sled go down the hill, and that's a really big thing.
Well, no matter how fast or slow your start is, if you're skidding it away out of the first corner, it doesn't help, does it?
But yeah, Kendall's been driving very well this season, and we'll see what she can do this run. She's keeping the deficit about the same. But if she keeps some speed out of the exit at Kreisel, then we should see her claw some time back to Valentina.
2 World Cup medals in her career, silver in St. Moritz a couple of seasons ago, bronze in Lake Placid last year. So we've already done Lake Placid, but we're heading to St. Moritz later in early next month.
Good bottom of the track, good speed, better than Valentina and Savannah, but not enough too late, just too little too late.
59.22 slide. So the 22nd start in Heat 1, and I think she'll probably end up with the slowest start in Heat 2 as well. Renata Kutziner 5.55, she started 5.73. So she needs a few more meters of ice to undo that start deficit.
Yeah, I know Kendall, and I know she'll want more from herself for sure. She drove pretty well. Her push, she just have to get that back under her. I know she can. She's just got to put in the work again, and we'll all get there. It's just some tough times ahead.
Yep. Longer the track, the more it'll play for her. Well, they're the British boys. Marcus Wyatt, Jerry Rice, Craig Thompson watching their teammate Laura Dees at the top of the track. Dees last year in 7th place on this track, the Olympic bronze medalist, the only one of Great Britain's Olympians from Pyeongchang, or Olympic medal winners, still competing. But 7th last year, 14th place in Heat 1. And it was not a tidy run, was it?
No, it wasn't. That was a very good corner zero this run, so it looks like she's locked it down and see if she can move up a couple spots this run and dethrone Valentina. But Valentina's been picking some people off right there.
Well, she has a 0.2 of a second advantage over Valentina Margaglia from the first heat, but started a tenth slower than the Italian.
And it's still dropping.
Yep.
Big spike in the front of Kreisel. That's not going to be good for speed. Maintaining the deficit, however. Speed's down, up to Valentina. We'll see if she can pull back that deficit at all down here.
Well, this is where Margaglia wiped a bit of speed off on the wall. 124 kilometers an hour, not enough for Laura Dees, but very close. Valentina moves up. 58.91 slide for Laura Dees, but Valentina's was a 58.64.
Yeah.
58.64 would have left Valentina Margaglia in 7th place in the first heat. Now, the track may not be as quick in the second heat.
Yeah, Valentina put down a very good run that just shows how important it is to just let the sled do what it wants to do, especially on this track.
Yeah. Well, Laura Dees again going quicker than her first run, 59.04 to 58.91. So she found 1500s. Some of that potentially as the temperature starts to drop coming from the track itself, some from tidying up after your first heat. But that's always the thing, isn't it? You train for 3 days, then you have a day off, then you come back to an entirely different track. Corners are in the same place, nothing else is the same as in training though.
Especially with Winterberg, you never know what kind of weather you're going to get.
Next up is Ashley Pittaway from Great Britain, now 19 years old, our youth Olympic gold medalist in 2016. The 8th World Cup of her career. She made her debut age 15 in Koenigsegg 5 seasons ago now. She's been in and out of the World Cup squad on a couple of occasions.
Should see a big drive from Ashley. Not the fastest starter in the field, but one of those ex-Germans that knows how to drive a sled.
Born in Munich, now lives on a canal boat in Bath. 4th fastest. And still hanging around in the top 4 or 5 spots at the moment. This is Kendall Westenberg, Maddie Charney territory. She's going to need to find something very German down at the bottom of the track. Elbow out again, big steer there.
Up on speed. But I think it's too little too late, and I think Valentina will have one more.
3/10. Is she going to bring it back? 126.6 is very good speed at the bottom. The fastest sled we've seen so far, but wow, 700 of a second. She very nearly made it.
Making it close, but Valentina gets another.
Yeah. Picks off another one. Ashley Pittaway in 3rd place because there was only 500s between Valentina Margaglia and Laura Dees. So Ashley 700s behind Valentina, dropped 2 spots. So Ashley Pittaway, Great Britain, elbow out there. That's always a sign that there's a lot of steering going on, isn't it?
Yeah, she's doing a little bit of work, a little more work than she probably would have liked, and she's going to be, because of this Winterberg track is so finicky, all the work you do is magnified down the track, and it shows in your speed for sure.
So Laura Dees in second, Ashley Pittaway in third. Valentina Margallo continues to lead.
There's that mascot again.
And there's the mascot. Beaky, the whatever he is. Penguin, possibly.
Narwhal, I don't know.
Next up, 12th place after the first heat, Anna Fenstetova for the Czech Republic. Formerly slid for the German team. Went to school in Bavaria at the Christopher Schuler, where so many of the German sliders come and are grown up. 5:69 start for her.
Same push as first run. And again, from Anna, expect to see a very good drive. She's not the fastest pusher, however, she knows how to get the sled down the track.
And particularly on the German tracks, as that's where she did all of her early learning.
Absolutely. Winterberg, definitely not her favorite track. Koenigsegg, I would say, is hers, and it's where she's from, but
yep.
It's she still knows how to get down it. Little bit of energy pulling her right into Kreisel. She had to do a bit of work there, so hopefully that doesn't affect her too bad.
Bright yellow helmet makes it easy to watch where she's using her head to steer as well.
Down on speed to Ashley a little bit.
Yeah, Valentina Margallo may be picking another one off. She's only 4th on the splits, quarter second back. Well, Ashley Pittaway came very close from there, and the speed's good. She takes a tied lead. A dead heat between Anna Fenstetova and Valentina Margallo.
That is that German knowledge at the bottom of the track. They've taken so many runs here, and they know where to squeak it out of the bottom couple corners.
A fantastic run, 58.95 for Anna Fenstetova. She doesn't get by Valentina Margallo, but she ties her.
There's that little bit of doing a little bit of work into the entrance of Kreisel, a very important part. And down at the bottom of the track in corner 11, really just letting it fly and using the speed built from corner 9 to get you down the track.
Well, she doesn't look overjoyed with that. I think she wanted to be higher up the order in her 16th World Cup race. Didn't race here last year. She was earning her spot in the World Cup as a Czech athlete rather than as a German athlete. And next up from Australia, Jackie Narracott, just outside the top 10. It's a 1200ths of a second improvement required to get into the 10. Let's see what the Aussie can produce. She was 10th place in last year's race here in Winterberg.
5:55 first run. We'll see if she can improve on that. Same push and handles corner 0 very well. Keeps the sled going down the hill.
Married during the summer to Don Parsons, a long-term boyfriend from the British skeleton team. 100th of a second in front of Fenstetova and Margallo.
Little bit late in the 5. That could potentially show in the exit of Kreisel. Ooh, yeah, that's not going to do very well. She's going to be down on speed coming out of here and potentially down a couple tenths.
We talked about that in the first heat, didn't we, where a mistake early on takes lots of corners sometimes to show up in your lack of speed.
Absolutely, yeah. The top part of the track is so flat. Any mistake really shows itself very well down the track, and it just keeps compounding.
And she was really fighting it through the labyrinth. That shows in the lack of speed as well. 123.4 at the line, only the 8th fastest run. She'll be very disappointed to give away 5 places rather than to earn any.
Yeah, she's not going to be happy with that one.
Southern Cross on the front of her helmet, the beaches of Queensland on the back. I don't think that's the beaches of Bath.
You know better than me.
Yeah, Bath doesn't have beaches.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, very disappointed. She was fighting it all the way, wasn't she?
Yeah, and her 5, 6, 7 transition was not good. You want to keep as much speed through that section as possible.
And really late coming into the labyrinth meant that every corner just compounds that problem for you. Our joint leaders then, as we say goodbye to Our Aussie contender, Anna Feenstetteva and Valentina Margalio.
Valentina moving up from 17th to 10th so far. And judging how the ice has deteriorated earlier today, we may see her jump a couple more spots. But here comes a German, and they know how to drive this track.
10 to go in Winterberg. We get to our first German, Sophia Griebel, unlikely to take a medal on Winterberg's ice this year. She's not been on the podium here before in World Cup racing. Took a lot of corner one with a 5:48 start.
Yeah, she handled this part very well, and she lost speed further down the track, but we'll see if she can improve and maybe jump a couple spots as well this round.
Well, 2900s ahead of our joint leaders, Valentina Margalio and Anna Feenstetteva. That's down to 1600s, down to 200s. And she's only just got to the Kreisel.
Yeah, nothing's very glaring right now with her run. She's just losing speed. Sometimes you just didn't pick the right thing, or you're maybe 2 tenths on the sled, but she's coming back again, and she may be able to pull it back and maybe extend the lead a hair.
This is the way the Germans slide this track, finding speed all the way down that they may not have at the start. 3500s up, that's a big run from Sophia Griebel. 58.75, it's only 500s quicker than her first heat. We've seen bigger improvements from further back, but that perhaps an indication that their first runs weren't what they should have been and the second run was more where it should be.
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes your first run isn't, and you'll jump a couple spots second run and keep moving up.
Always better to have the bad run first than second, right? You always want to go up rather than back.
I'd rather not have a bad run.
No, even if the net result is the same, it feels better if the bad run came first.
Absolutely, yeah.
Decent run through corner zero. You see, she follows all the marks. Everybody is having the same little dink up corner zero and then being drifted over to the right-hand side.
Yeah, it's absolutely a tricky curve, and you can't nail it every single time.
Sophia Griebel leads with 9 to go. Kim Marmans for Belgium is next up. Marmans, 33rd World Cup start for her. Last year's race saw her finish in 13th place. Right now, poised for a top 10 run in Winterberg.
Pushed a 5:45 first run. We'll see if she can better that this run. 5:56, a bit slower.
World Championships in Winterberg were her first senior race. She hadn't started in the World Cup before then, so this was where we first saw her racing under lights and TV cameras. And she's tried to maintain that trajectory on a regular basis up into the top 10.
Coming through this top section looking pretty relaxed. Lines are pretty good.
Gaps coming back down, was a 10th behind, now only 800s. Nice looking Kreisel.
Pretty good speed into Kreisel. And she's dropped back a little bit more, and we might see that start to compound. Hopefully she can keep it running down the hill.
Keeps her head buried in the labyrinth, trusting the sled, trying to let it fly. 1400s back, 124.7 in the final corner. And at the line, second place, 1800s back. Sophia Griebel moves up 1.
Yeah, we may see Sophia pick off a couple the second run.
58.95 for Kim Marmans. That's 2 tenths slower than Sophia Griebel on that run alone. So that undoes her first heat advantage.
Just coming through 11, you see she's really relaxed and letting the sled do it. She's a big dip though, and that's going to show in the end. She's driving a lot to get that across. Yeah, the bottom of the track, she had a couple, just was a little bit too tense maybe in some spots, and it showed.
Sophia Griebel is our race leader as we get to our final 8 sleds. Next up is Canada's Jane Channel.
With the intimidating stance at the start.
Yeah, and look how close this battle is. She was 2 spots ahead of Griebel, 300ths of a second covered those 3 sleds. So that is, you know, if you blink your eyes in the wrong place, you're going to give away that amount of time.
Yeah, it's pretty tight through this section of sliders. And then it starts to jump off pretty quick.
This is the nature of this track, from 5 to 15, often 5 to 20. There's barely 100th between the sleds. 5:33 getaway, that's a good start for her, and that gives her another 1800s in the bank over Griebel.
Great 0 to 1. keeps it running through 2. See if she can get into 3. Tricky, very tricky combination of 2, 3.
Now that faster start carries you so far, accelerating away ahead of your rival, but then you've got to maintain it.
You've still got to maintain it right off the bat. It just gives you a little bit more inertia from the top of the hill that you just got to maintain all the way down the track, especially with this track and how flat it is, even through 40 seconds in.
And how short it is as well. There's not a lot of ice to recover your composure in. Smooth looking run from Jane Channel. 3,800s up still. The gap is coming down to Griebel. Manageable though. Yeah. A third of a second in front and 125 Ks at the bottom. She stays a third of a second in front. 58.47. That is a good run for her. That would have been good enough for 6th position in the first heat.
She's pretty happy with that one for sure.
0.3 of a second improvement on her first run, and it looked all of that, didn't it? So there was just something about the body language that really looked a lot more fluid.
The lines look good, and she looked like she was more gelled into the sled, so we'll see if she can hold and jump maybe a couple. Maybe get closer to her teammate.
Well, like her teammate Maddie Charney, and particularly like Mimi Reniva, she's got a strong start. That definitely doesn't hurt. Nice clean exit there.
Just letting the sled fly and going down the hill.
Megan Henry, bonus correct.
7 sleds to go. Next up is our top US slider, Megan Henry, after the first heat. 6th fastest start, 7th at the bottom of the hill in her first ever World Cup race in Europe.
Expect a big start from Meg. There's a 5:40, only 200 slower than last run, and a very good 0, better than her first run. Not as much speed as Jane. Jane had her about by 0.3 of a kilometer. But Meg knows how to drive this track very well.
Well, this is going to be very tight again. Megan Henry had a 0.2 advantage over Jane Channel from the first heat. She's going to have to find it further down.
Jane had a very good run, and Meg's going to have to put on the afterburners to catch her.
Well, Hunter Church in the double 4-man races with 2 resounding top 10 finishes. Like Megan, his first ever World Cup appearances out of North America. So the US rookies have been doing pretty well so far this weekend.
Absolutely. Meg dropping back a little bit, see if she can just fall only 1 spot.
Yeah, well, she drops 1 behind Jane Channel, but she's still ahead of Sophia Griebel of Germany, who knows this track inside out.
Very good for Meg, though. She should be really happy with that run.
If you said, okay, first European World Cup, we'll give you an 8th place, I don't think she'd have argued too much with that, would she?
Not at all.
So guaranteed no worse than that, and there could be some little hazards for others to trip over as well.
Yeah, she still has the chance to move up. Jane threw down a really good second run. That was an interesting load, too.
Yeah.
She probably lost a bit of, that's probably where that velocity was out of 1. Just landed a little too hard on her sled.
Yeah, looked like she
almost popped it out.
Maybe overreached herself there very slightly.
Just got a little twisted up.
Yeah. Lots of love from the teammates for their new World Cup buddy.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that this week yet.
There you go. Save it for race day. Next up then is Russia's Elena Nikitina, the fastest starter in the field.
Expect a big push from Nikitina.
She won the last race in Lake Placid after Jacqueline Lurling won the first.
Interesting load. We'll see if the velocity's there.
She has
5:18 though. 200's faster than first run, but she's squirrely out of 0.
Very unusual style of getting onto the sled. Everybody else sort of leads with their chin. She almost leads with the hips.
Yeah, she has the top speed though out of the start.
Well, that's that sprinter's velocity that she produces. And again, she started her career like Tretiakov, gangbusters at the start, hit everything on the way down. Once she learned to carry the speed further down the track, then she started winning races.
She's down on speed, and she went a little too early into Kreisel, and that's going to start showing down here. She may be even at the next split. Yep.
Wow. Good call from 4/10 up. She's in the red. And the speed is not as good as we've seen.
Yeah, she'll drop even further. She doesn't have any speed coming down, and she may drop 2 or 3 spots.
Anna Fenstetter with the fastest sled through the final speed trap. Nikitina is a couple of miles away from that, 59.03, and she drops behind Megan Henry. So Megan again, although Jane Channel jumped her, said there's those tripwires all the way down this track, and Nikitina found a couple of them.
Yeah, Jane now guaranteed a top 6, Meg is 7th, and the two of them, those are 2 very good results for the both of them.
Absolutely right. Jane Channel last year 11th. She's our current leader with only 5 to go.
Yeah, landed a little hard on the sled, especially for Nikitina, who's known for her pushes and known for a very, very good load. But she was unsettled going into 0, and it just compounded from there.
Well, you can't be perfect every time. I'll take once, you know, but
I'll take one.
That's why I'm not an elite athlete. So Jane Channel there, your race leader with 5 to go. And this is seriously now where we start looking at who is going to take the medals. 5 to go in Winterberg. Martin Haven, Austin Florian watching the action as Marina Gilardoni of Switzerland blasts off in her hunt for medals here. 24 hundredths off the lead, but only 13 hundredths out of the medals. Can the Swiss girl do it here?
Yeah, 5:37, 100 faster than her first one, so she's still there, and she knows how to drive, and she can potentially make it into the top 3. She's only 13 hundredths out of the podium right now, and she has the potential to make it.
Now her advantage over Jane Channel from the first heat is considerable.
Late entrance in the Kreisel, though. We'll see if that manifests anything lower down.
She had 43 hundredths in hand. It was 24 hundredths at the Kreisel. It's 21 hundredths now.
Maintaining.
Speed is good as well. Almost as good as anybody at this point of the track. 19 hundredths,
It's coming
a
down
long
a little bit.
skid.
She should be able to hold it, though, to the finish.
125.8 is good enough. It is good enough. So 3rd fastest slide of these second runs. For Marina Gilardoni, she will finish no worse than 5th position. Where was she last year? Didn't race here last year.
Yeah, she hurt her ankle in Segulda last season.
Yeah. She looks happy with that. And that, you know, that's often the only time you can tell whether it was a good run or not, when you see the helmet come off.
Yeah, and whether or not we're happy or not.
Yes.
We'll show you for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You haven't got much of a sleeve to put your heart on, but it's there.
Oh, some are better than others.
Well, Marina just a little offline going into the Kreisel, but didn't stop her on her way to a top 5 finish. Is it enough, though, to take the medals or to take a medal here? Substantial hurdle to be overcome in the form of Mimi Reneva. The Canadian 5th fastest starter in the field came down just 13 hundredths off gold, 11 hundredths off silver, 2 hundredths out of bronze. This is where it gets real, isn't it? You know, any mistake here by any of our remaining 4 athletes gives away medals.
Absolutely. Yeah, expect a big start from Mimi. She had the 5th fastest at a 5:36 last run, and she has a 5:33, just a bit faster. See if she can carry that all the way through this fast section into the steeps. Very good driver, though. Almost fastest speed and handles 2 very, very well. Letting the sled go, and you see how she's jello-y, and she's letting the sled fly.
13 hundredths in hand over Marina Gilardoni. I beg your pardon. She had 11 hundredths over Marina from the first heat. That's out
Building
to
her
4
lead.
tenths. This could be a really serious shot for medals, couldn't it?
Highest speed into Kreisel.
Piles the pressure
Should be
on
more of the lead.
Yeah.
Biggest
6
speed so
tenths.
far, 6 tenths in the bank.
This is going to be, at the moment, comfortably the fastest run of the second heat.
Laying down a burner of a run.
Absolutely. This is vintage Mimi Reneva, 7 tenths clear. She was 11 hundredths up in the first heat. She crosses the line.
78 hundredths in the lead.
Wow. A 58.01. That is the fastest run of the day from Mimi Reneva.
Mimi, a big threat for the medals right now.
If she'd done that in the first heat, she would have led by 9 hundredths of a second. Now
The ice is definitely getting faster.
It is
Not
definitely
breaking down like we thought it would.
definitely holding up well. And Mimi, look at the smile on her face.
She's always smiling.
Yeah. So a great slow-mo view of the load and how relaxed she is even loading onto the sled.
Great Kreisel, managing those waves very, very well, not overdriving them and letting the sled go forward through the corner.
Using her head there to steer it back up from that little low pressure.
Oh, we got a dog there.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one.
Nor did Maddie Charney, otherwise she'd have been right over there. Next up is our top three. So who is going to take the medals? Is it current leader Mimi Reneva? Will it be Janine Flock, Jacqueline Lurling, last year's winner, or Tina Herman? Well, Janine has never won on this track. She's taken medals. She was bronze last year, but she has never won a race here.
Next three sliders are not known for their big pushes. However, they are known for their driving ability, especially on this track, which they all have a lot of runs on.
Yeah, and in the end, you only have to be ahead at the finish line, not at the start line.
Yep, that's all that matters, that time at the bottom of the run.
But it was such a huge run from Mimi Reneva. I mean, that really piles the pressure on Janine Flock.
Yeah, Mimi threw one down for sure. We'll see Janine start to pull it back at a Kreisel, however.
Yeah, most experienced slider in the field. 76th World Cup start for Janine.
Pulling the lead back a bit, but I don't know if she's going to catch Mimi with the bottom that she had.
2700s in the red. Head up a little there, looking for the line.
1900s, she's closing it down, but I don't think it's enough.
28, that's the fastest speed we've seen. This could be within a few hundreds. No, 1300s back. Mimi is in the medals. Now, I should have been looking back to see when the last time Mimi Reneva took a World Cup medal was, but she's in the medals here with 2 to go. We will not get a German clean sweep of the podium here. We had 2 Germans on the podium in the men's race that was won by Sun Bin Young. Alexander Gassner took silver. Axel Jung took bronze. Well, empirically, there was nothing much wrong with Janine's run, was there?
No, Mimi just had that good of a bottom.
Yeah.
And that their start velocity and her start speed, Janine just couldn't deal with it. Janine definitely drove a very good run, but when you're out pushed by 2/10, there's not much you can do about it.
Yep. 2 to go. Who is going to win this race? Mimi Reneva leads Janine Flock and Marina Gilardoni. That can't be our podium, surely. Here's our World Cup leader. Here's our world champion, Jacqueline Lurling of Germany. Now, in the last 5 years, she's taken 3 silver medals, beaten by Lizzie Arnold, Tina Herman and Liz Vache, and then 2 gold medals, beating Liz Vache and Tina Herman.
5:55 start first run. We'll see if she can better that here.
Little over rotation as she loaded.
5:52, 300s faster with a big late energy on corner 0, but she handles it very well.
Didn't look to be doing that much corrective steering either, just took it and ran.
No, she knows how to handle those lines for sure. She has many runs on this track.
Well, her advantage here over Mimi Reneva, 1100s from the first heat. Because of that slower start, she'll go deep into the hole, but from the Kreisel, ooh.
Big hit before 6, that's big. That's not a mistake you generally see from Jacka.
From the Kreisel on down, I was about to say she's got to start digging for gold.
Still in the red. 2700s back, the deficit has grown. I don't know if she has the speed, and I don't know if she can get that back from Mimi.
Now I'm racking my brains to think what the biggest deficit for a German slider coming into the final corner was. 2900s back, 127.9, not quite the quickest speed we've seen, and not enough. Mimi Reneva will be at least the silver medalist. Janine Flock will take at least bronze, and Jacqueline Lurling needs Tina Herman to give away the gold for her even to get a medal on her home track. The World Cup leader, who took medals in both races in Lake Placid, may not get one at home. Now that you would not get long odds on.
No, I would not have bet on that.
Not a hope anybody would have taken that money. Of course she's going to get a medal here in Winterberg, but look at this.
Yeah, that hit before 6, getting early and pushed away, that is one of the most crucial points on the track,
and
it showed.
There was 2 marks. One was from the bunk, the other was from her toes tracking the wall as well. Double agony.
Yeah, she knows what happened, and she knows how bad that impact can be.
But she also knows if she can make a mistake, so can Tina Herman. Tina Herman, 1300ths of a second ahead after the first heat, but that may not be enough.
5:51 push from the first run.
Chopping her
Same
toes.
push second run.
Chopping her toes on the ice there, the style the Russians used to do in St. Moritz to avoid hitting quarter zero. Haven't seen that in a long while. 500s behind. So the gold medal here will go to Mimi Reneva or Tina Herman. Last Canadian winner on this track, 2011-12, Amy Goff. No, beg your pardon, Liz Baffarci. Sorry, Liz, 3 years ago. Before Liz.
Yeah, Tina with a start deficit of roughly 2/10 to Mimi. She's going to have a lot of work to do down here to put back that drive that Mimi did. She's clawing her way back, though. She's only 1,500s back.
She didn't have that big mistake early on. This is going to be close.
This should be close. This should be within under a tenth. 700ths of a second.
She needs high 127s. Best speed.
She's got high speed. This could be down to the 100.
Gold. Surely for Tina Herman.
300ths of a second.
Wow.
A happy Dirk.
Well, Dirk Matchens gets a German win. Finally, Tina Herman claims victory. The German men did not win today. Sun Bin Young did by 500ths. Tina Herman wins by 300ths of a second. Her first win here since the 2015-16 season.
She's pretty happy about that.
How can you tell?
I don't know.
When it goes well for her, oh boy, she just, you see, that, how is she so relaxed on the sled and then just so afterwards?
That's what happens when you've been sliding for most of your life.
Yeah, unbelievable. Mimi Reneva, 300s back in silver. Janine Flock takes the bronze again. Well, Jacqueline Lurling, last year's winner, ahead of Tina Herman, and Janine Flock goes over to congratulate her own teammate. Tina's first win here in 4 years. Jacka won the previous 2. Liz Varchainer won before that. And there may be a lot of Jacqueline Lurling fans in the crowd, but I think there might be a few Hermanators there as well. Sophia Griebel goes over to give her a big hug as well.
Sure, the German fans will still be happy to see a German on the top of the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, an awful lot of them are Jacqueline Lurling's friends and family who are here. There seems to be more and more friends and family with every year that she's successful here.
Absolutely. And a great job for Mimi today, though, too.
Yeah.
Jumping up 2 spots to come second after 4th in the first run.
Well, Tina Herman, the pressure was really on her, wasn't it? Whether she felt it was or not.
Right.
You know, such a smoking run from Mimi Reneva. You can never take things for granted in ice sliding.
Absolutely. Mimi definitely still drove the bottom of the track the best, though, I would say. No one was even close with that. Janine had better speed, but Mimi had a list.
Well, Tina Herman won it with a 58.11 slide, but silver medal to Mimi Reneva. She came down the mountain in a 58.01, the fastest slide of the entire competition, to move up from 4th position to take silver. And some big results there. Marina Gilardoni 5th, she'll be happy with that. Jane Channel 6th, Megan Henry 7th, she'll be happy with that as well, you would think. Valentina Margalio 20th to 11th. Fantastic result for her as well.
That's the slide of the day, I'd have to say. That second run.
Impressive
Huge
stuff from
second
her.
run from Valentina, and I think that might be her best result ever.
So the sun is setting in the Hogsauerland. The track illuminated means that the sliders won't have noticed too much of that. Been a bit of a grey, grisly, drizzly day, hasn't it? But actually, as ever here in Winterberg, the racing has been super competitive. And as you say, yeah, Valentina Margalio, well, she just kind of threw the sled down the hill with her on it, didn't she, really? You know,
absolutely. Sometimes that's what you have to do, though.
Didn't seem to be an awful lot of finesse, but that can come in the tracks maybe that require it. When you've got that momentum at the start, fantastic. Well, there's Tina Herman and silver medalist Mimi Reneva. I guess we still are in the first week of 2020, aren't we? So it is still Froyas Neujahr. Yep. Yeah, you guys have been here for a while. It's New Year's Eve celebrations at the racetrack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as ever, bobsleigh and skeleton, pretty big sport in what is a relatively small town here in Winterberg, so everybody knows what's going on in town. And again, the fans coming out to brave the weather. Some pretty grim weather over the last 2 days as well. Not great days to be standing outside getting soaked to the skin, but the bobsleigh and skeleton fans have all come out. So Mimi's character always comes out in the leader's
Always
box.
having a good time.
Yeah. Silver medalist, so that adds to her medal haul, and she will return in a few weeks to Samoritz, the scene of 2 of her 3 World Cup wins. That is now her 9th World Cup medal. And she took the bronze medal here when Liz Vace, her teammate, won in 2016-17. So that's actually her 2nd medal in World Cup sliding here on this track. She's now got a bronze and a silver, only 1 left to claim. Race 3 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup is done. Jacqueline Lurling now leads the point standings, as she did coming in, but by a reduced margin. Janine Flock, Tina Hermann jumps to 3rd. Mimi Reniva up to 4th ahead of Elena Nikitina. As Hermann claims victory, silver goes to Mimi Reniva, bronze to Janine Flock, and only 4th place to Jacqueline Lurling. Megan Henry, the World Cup rookie, in 10th place in the overall rankings. You should be pretty happy with that after a good performance here. But again, Austin Florian, Tina Hermann going last with all the pressure of the good runs. Had to just go somewhere special to find victory here.
Absolutely, that just comes from experience though. She has so many runs on this track and so many runs in general. In these types of situations, she knows exactly how to handle herself and handle her drive, and she did exactly that today. And she was very happy about it, and that showed.
Bronze medalist in race 1 in Lake Placid, only 6th in race 2, but she claims her 1st win of the season here. So Tina Hermann now moves on to 8 wins in 43 races. That's her 23rd podium.
That's not bad.
No, I mean, you know, she's now a 50% podium finisher in all races in her World Cup career. Silver for Mimi Reniva, bronze for Janine Flock. Those are your medalists here in Winterberg in Germany. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to Austin Florian for his words of wisdom, to everybody who's joined me in the booth. On behalf of the IBSF TV crew here in Winterberg, thank you for joining us too. Don't forget, we'll be back next week from La Plagne in France, the first World Cup races there in 5 years. A lot of these sliders have not seen the track before. That could be very interesting. But for now, the beers are on Tina Hermann, literally as well as metaphorically. We'll see you then. Thank you for joining us. Auf Wiedersehen from Winterberg, and goodbye.